Hey everyone, welcome back to our fertility series. I'm Dr. Kaylee McIsaac from AccuBalance Wellness Center. Health and beauty aids. The big concern here is that we absorb and metabolize what goes on our skin. So up to 60% of the chemicals that you put on your skin, you will actually absorb into your system. And unfortunately, health and beauty aids, this is things like cosmetics and lotions, they are full of hormone, endocrine, and metabolism disruptors. So two of the really huge categories that you will often find in personal care products are parabens and phthalates. Parabens are highly estrogenic, anti-androgenic. They inhibit mitochondrial ATP formation, so that's cellular energy formation. And they also impair phase 2 detoxification. That's a huge problem. In a minute, I'm going to show you what happens in the liver, but if you impair phase 2 detox, toxins actually get stuck in this activated, most active form. So parabens have got to be cut. Phthalates cause a lot of allergies, asthma. They've been linked with autism, diabetes, infertility, low testosterone, mood disorders, obesity, and cognitive decline. You want these things out of your life, absolutely. Unfortunately, in the industry of health and beauty aids, there's a lot of what people call greenwashing, where you'll look at a label and it'll say no phthalates. And so you think, great, this company is, obviously being very cognizant of what's going in their product. They've told me that there's no phthalates in there. Fantastic, I'm going to buy this one. Look your products up before you buy them. Use something like the Skin Deep database, which is also through the Environmental Working Group, or this app that we love at AccuBalance called Think Dirty, where you can actually even scan the barcode of a product and it will tell you its safety rating or potential toxin levels in a product. Look them up, because a lot of these companies that will say phthalate free might still have parabens in the product, or they still have synthetic fragrances, which are masking other chemicals in the product. Use up or even throw out anything with a high toxicity rating and replace it with something less toxic. And this is just to really hammer home the point that these health and beauty aids really do make a huge difference for the level of phthalates in our systems. This is a study in men looking at blood phthalate levels after using progressively more health and beauty products. Think of your partner or yourself getting ready in the morning. You haven't used anything, and then he puts on cologne, his levels go up. He uses aftershave, levels go up. Hair gel, levels go up significantly. Deodorant, a little bit further. Lotion, levels. So the problem is not necessarily with one product. It's the fact that we use multiple products as we get ready in the morning, and the levels of phthalates just keep going up as we use more and more products in our systems to get ready. So take this really seriously. Look up your products and replace them gradually with things that are safer. A lot of the products that are clean at Sephora, those are great choices. I would still run them through Think Dirty or Skin Deep to double check and make sure that they are as safe as they are claiming to be. But there are a lot of cosmetic brands there and even skincare brands through Sephora that are doing a really great job of properly labeling and making sure that nothing is going into those products that can be endocrine disrupting. There are also a ton of local boutiques that do high quality, organic, chemical-free skincare. So those are great options as well. In your house and in your yard. So here I'm talking about toxins in cleaning products, toxins in gardening, and mold. So the concerns about your cleaning products are that they often contain parabens, chlorine, triclosan, phthalates, sodium hydroxide, PERCs, so some persistent and some non-persistent chemicals. I know some people hate when I tell them to make their own cleaning solution, but it really is so simple. You can literally do a combination of 1/4 vinegar to 3/4 water, add a couple of drops of essential oil. A couple of my favorites are yuzu, lavender, or rosemary. And then you've got a spray cleaner that you can use on literally any surface in your home. We use baking soda as when I need an abrasive. So if I'm cleaning out the bottom of our bathtub, I'll throw a little bit of baking soda, spray it with my vinegar solution, let it react a bit, and then use a good scrubby to kind of get rid of everything. Or you can use safer commercial products if you don't want to make your own. Honest Company, Sapodilla, Sage, there's lots of good companies out there now making high quality products. With gardening, our big concern is pesticides, herbicides, fungicides. One great recommendation is to actually use a fine mesh to protect some of your crops against pests as opposed to using insecticides on them. And then mold is another consideration. About 50% of our houses and businesses are affected by mold, and mycotoxins are associated with not only allergies and sort of upper respiratory tract infections, but some people have real inflammatory reactions to molds. Flame retardants is another. They're very high in chemicals. They off-gas chemicals. So be really careful if you're buying a new carpet, a new bed frame, a new couch. You really want to know if there have been flame retardants used on those surfaces. Lastly, we want to consider the toxins of choice. Be very cognizant of alcohol. Intake in excess, alcohol depletes glutathione, which is your body's main antioxidant. This impairs your ability to protect yourself against all of these other toxins that we are discussing. So women should stick to 1 to 2 drinks a week max. Men should stick to maybe 3 or 4 drinks a week at a maximum. The antioxidant capacity of glutathione is so important for egg quality and sperm quality. So outside of its ability to help you detoxify, it also encourages really healthy gamete production. So we want to be very cognizant of alcohol intake. High fructose corn syrup, you really shouldn't be having this in your diet anyways, but it definitely does damage the liver and impairs your ability to detoxify. So optimally, you have no high fructose corn syrup that's commonly found in sodas and processed candies and things like this. Marijuana. Smoking marijuana has actually been shown to be twice as carcinogenic as tobacco. It's also been shown to interfere with sperm motility. There's not great research on marijuana with egg quality, but it's likely not that it's not going to come out of the research that it's a helpful thing. So it would definitely be something that I would want both partners to avoid leading up to when they try to conceive. Pharmaceuticals, of course, many are necessary and even life-saving, but the way that most pharmaceuticals act is by damaging enzyme function. So for example, even like Tylenol depletes glutathione really strongly, again, reducing your detoxification ability. The optimal dose of any pharmaceutical or over-the-counter is the minimum dose that you need to get the job done. Or ideally, you fix the underlying cause. Like, why do you need that pharmaceutical in the first place? If you're taking Tylenol for period cramps, what can we do to get you off of the Tylenol? There's lots of natural solutions, so you don't have to be depleting your glutathione. Salt we want to be cognizant of just because it can impair the kidney's ability to excrete toxins. So if you're salting your own food, you would never cause damage to the kidneys. You would never use that much salt when you're making your own food, but we have to be cognizant of it in like packaged goods and potato chips and things like that. And then wheat is another consideration as well. Depending on your genetics and how you respond to wheat, some people can have a lot of gut permeability for several hours after they take wheat into their system. And if you have this gut permeability and then manufacture antibodies to wheat, this creates a lot of inflammation that can really sort of bind up the immune system, sort of take its attention, and it ideally should be avoided in the context of fertility for those people. Not for everybody, but for some people. Okay, so then what? We have learned all of the ways of reducing our exposure to things. So what's next? Like, should we just like jump in and do a detox? Is that the next step? I want to be very careful to let you all know that we must open the routes of elimination before we promote accelerated detox. So you don't want to, for example, just go ahead and start doing infrared saunas several times a week in order to help yourself detoxify. Because if you don't have the organs of elimination open, meaning your liver, your kidneys, your bowels, your bladder, your urine elimination system, if those are not fully open, you can actually do a lot more harm than good by liberating more toxins from the deep stores in your tissue. You also want to consider when you want to undergo a detoxification protocol in regards to how long it's going to be before you start trying to conceive, and how intensely you want to force the body to detoxify, depending on where you're at in that TTC journey. So if you just finished an IVF cycle and you feel like you've gained an extra 5 or 10 pounds and you want to detox from excessive hormone load, you should definitely do that, but in a very gentle and safe way, because you'll be still trying to conceive. And when you're trying to conceive, you actually don't want to stir up a bunch of environmental toxicants in your system, because you'd just be making them more available to the baby, possibly affecting fetal development. So we've got to be very strategic about how we help you detoxify, which is what I do one-on-one with patients. We open the gut first. We make sure you're having regular bowel movements. We make sure you're hydrated so the kidney system can work. Then we support the liver and the kidneys. And then we can start pushing detoxification through the liver pathways or with sauna, for example. Here's just a very simple idea of why we have to open those elimination pathways first. One of the main detoxification processes, so actually two of the main detox processes, occur in our liver. So there's phase 1 detox through the liver, phase 2 detox through the liver, and then what we call phase 3, which is the actual elimination of those toxins from your body altogether. So if we take a look at this image here, this is our liver, and on the left, we have toxins coming in. So let's say maybe that's arsenic. So I've taken some elemental arsenic into the system. Elemental arsenic is going to go through phase 1 of detoxification, becoming something called MMA. Now wait, because MMA is actually 8 times more toxic than elemental arsenic is itself, which is the initial toxin. And this is the case for many chemicals and even our own hormones like estrogen. So when we push something through phase 1, even though we've technically detoxified it, it is actually temporarily more toxic in a lot of cases than the initial substance. So hopefully your phase 2 detox is ready to go. Take a look on here and notice that glutathione conjugation using glutathione is a really important step in phase 2. Hopefully that kicks in really quickly and we detoxify from MMA into DMA. Now DMA is actually 400 times less toxic than elemental arsenic. Much, much safer to have DMA in your system than elemental arsenic, and that's actually safer than that intermediary, which is MMA. We're still not done though. We actually need DMA to be shuttled out of the body. In this case, the kidneys and the bladder, so this would leave the system through the urinary path. And if these systems are not opened up and working properly, things can back up. So think of how much MMA you could be stuck with if the pipes are clogged on the other end and we can't get the DMA out of your system. This is why we start at the bottom. We start with the last phase, that elimination. We open those up first before we start pushing phase 1 and phase 2 detox and forcing you to sweat. And these are protocols that we develop individually with patients because we really need to make sure that your system is ready to handle whatever we're going to bring out of the deep stores in your tissues. And we want to make sure that we are specifically planning it around when you're trying to conceive. So these are good things to ask your primary care physician is, should I be detoxing for my fertility? Because I know these toxins do have a big impact on my hormonal system and egg quality and sperm quality. So should I be doing it at all? And then if yes, when should I be doing it? And how intensely should we be working on this based on when you're thinking about trying to conceive? So that's our topic for today. Remember, we're trying to nourish the soil before planting the seed. So we're working on optimizing the water in that fishbowl to allow that goldfish to function at optimal vitality. Remember that when your cells are functioning at vitality, they're working at their peak fertility potential. So the quality of egg cells, the quality of sperm cells, and the quality of the uterine environment can be improved. So the likelihood that you fall pregnant with a healthy baby and you bring that healthy baby to term is much more likely. I'm going to continue to do some of these webinars. So let us know what you'd like to see for the next one. And thanks so much for joining us today.